Hey babies, and welcome to a very special episode of The Messiest Bitch on the Internet. It's your host, Mr. BMG, and we are back at it again, hosting the Met Gala of 2025. I am so excited to get into this, and I know you are too, so let's get into it. So this beautiful background you see behind me was also taken at the Met 2 years ago, and it was basically relating to the exhibition of Women Dressing Women, which was a celebration of female fashion designers over the years. And I go into all of this actually in the first episode of Catching Flights, which I toured around New York, and part of that was touring through the Met. So I hope you catch that episode. But enough promo, let's get into the actual business at hand. I really love the Met. I get so excited when the Met comes about because it's such an exciting time to see everybody dressed up and look good and look absolutely ravishing, and that's part of the excitement, you know. I look forward to it as much as the attendees, and it's a very special time. It's also a time to reflect on who's actually relevant within the entertainment industry at that particular point in time. And I think Vogue, you know, and the very meaning of what Vogue means, if something is in vogue, it means it is the current thing, what is happening, what is hot. So them hosting this event and essentially acknowledging who is hot and who people are talking about is pretty much the heart of why they're still relevant to this day, to be honest, because obviously print media has died and Vogue magazine has sought to evolve into the digital, you know, online space to basically remain relevant. And I think they've done that pretty well. They've got a great solid team that does a lot of video content on YouTube about, you know, people getting ready for different events and, you know, people doing different things related to fashion but also relating to their particular lives. So I think they've really done well to evolve, and, you know, I've always really loved Vogue, and I know that the 2025 theme of the Met Gala was definitely something that stood out for them, you know, because you're celebrating Black culture, and I hope that it's not the last time we get to see that. And I hope that, you know, Black people continue to be at the forefront of fashion and at the forefront of the zeitgeist and what is in vogue. Anyway, enough yappa, and into the dapper. So just getting into the first look. So essentially how I want to structure this conversation is I'm going to talk about not everyone who was at the event, because we don't have that time. Okay, we don't. We're just going to talk about all the ones that stood out, and for the good and for the bad, you know. So that's essentially how I want to go through it, and there may be more who stood out for the good or more who stood out for the bad, but that is to be determined, and you just need to stay tuned and see what I get into. So the first person I want to get into is bad gal Riri, and her outfit, one, and two, the fact that she publicly announced her pregnancy at the actual Met Gala. I just thought the move was actually really cool in the sense that great PR for her husband. Are they married? I think they're married. I don't know. But great PR for Rihanna and her man at the event, because I think everyone has been murmuring about the fact that Rihanna is pregnant. So it's just good that she's now confirming and she's getting to the forefront of it and doesn't have to hide and can give us great fashion again. I am kind of annoyed though that when I was watching the Vogue live stream, well, not so live because I think it was kind of partially pre-recorded in some ways. But when I was watching that, we didn't really get to see Rihanna doing her entrance. So that was kind of annoying, because that's kind of the moment, right? That would have maybe skyrocketed the views from like maybe 1 million to like 20 million, something like that. But nevertheless, we saw all the pictures. She's had a beautiful relationship with Vogue for many years. In terms of her outfit, I do feel like Rihanna can't look bad in anything. She could wear a plastic bag to the Met or plastic bag to anywhere she wanted to go to, and 3 million girls will start to wear plastic bags thinking that it's going to look good on them. When in reality, her blessing and the unique enigma of her persona is that she really can sell ice to an Eskimo. She looks good in virtually anything. Now, virtually anything may not look good on other people, but there's something about the way Rihanna carries an outfit and the attitude and the persona that she just has that just makes it so likable that you can't help but like it, you know? And so that's why she's had very few fashion faux pas, because she really is that girl, you know? Her personality comes into what she wears, and that's why she's a style icon, you know? So love the outfit. She was literally kind of wearing a coat as a dress, essentially, or a coat. She was wearing a coat as a skirt and then buttoned it up, but like halfway, and, you know, a corset over her belly with like a little half jacket or half blazer with like a little, you know, ascot scarf situation going on, and the hat just to top it off. And it really just gave queen. It gave like listen, I have arrived. This is my event and you guys are all just guests. So please take several seats and watch me as I announce my newest bundle of joy, in my stomach. And it was a moment, really, really, it's definitely on the hit list, in the sense that she did what needed to be done. She understood the assignment of dandyism, but she brought a fashion element into it. And also kind of has an unfair advantage again because she really cannot look bad in anything. So that's a lot of pressure for anyone who tries to outdress her, because she will look the moment in any given moment. Also, side note, I do feel like A$AP Rocky has benefited so much from being in a relationship with Riri, because yes, he always had this fashion thing going for him, but I feel like now Vogue and the world really take him seriously because of the association. So I do feel like he's really just sort of leveled up in being in a relationship with Riri. I do feel like it was his moment as well. It was really his moment, but I think they collectively stood together in a way that benefited both of them, the endorsement of A$AP Rocky within the fashion element and the concept of the Met, and Rihanna with her pregnancy and just always being really that person, that one guest who everyone waits for at the Met and a staple, and really the girl who's in charge at the Met outside of Anna Wintour. The next person I want to get into in terms of Met Gala looks is Ms. Diana Ross, honey. I think Ms. Diana Ross gave us a moment, and the moment was very dandy. The moment was grand. The moment was very much well-deserved, because a person of her stature, a legend, an icon that she is, deserves a moment on the red carpet at the Met in the way that she was given, And the outfit essentially enabled her to have a moment. I don't feel like the outfit was carrying her. She was actually carrying the outfit. And it was just beautiful to see her being within that element. I think what stood out for me from her look was the beautiful white, draping coat that she was wearing, which was actually kind of a theme at the Met this time. There was a lot of draping white coats. And in some ways, I do feel like it's another nod to Rihanna, because for me, the person who really took the coat thing to another level, to a point where people started emulating it year after year after year, has to be Rihanna when she wore that Guo outfit, the yellow coat that she wore back when, I'm not sure what year it was, but essentially she wore that beautiful yellow coat, and it was oversized and it took over the whole carpet. And I, explicitly remember Andre's commentary and, essentially alluding to the fact that, he loves a girl from humble beginnings. And those words from him really live rent-free in my mind, because I feel like it was such a moment that encapsulated everything. It was very much an I have arrived moment, and as much as Riri was a staple in fashion for so long, that moment really kind of was like, it took her to a different level. And essentially in reference to Diana Ross and the coat that she was wearing, and many other coats that made an appearance on the red carpet or on the Met carpet in 2025, all in some ways are a nod to Riri the gal. Jeremy Pope was also a person who gave a nod to Rihanna last year with the beautiful coat. I think it was Balmain. But whoever designer, but essentially he was wearing a coat and, giving a nod to Riri, who wouldn't say invented the concept, but I think made it so recognizable that when anyone does it, it's like you automatically think of Rihanna. But yes, Miss Diana Ross is definitely on the hit list, and really the outfit was appropriate for the person that she is. She carried the outfit. It was elegant, it was dandy, and she really did give us something to look forward to. I also want to go into Sabrina Carpenter. I do think her outfit was also kind of expected in some ways, because I feel like I've seen her wearing that in a different context. I don't know what context it was, but the outfit looked very familiar and essentially uniform to what she likes to wear. I did like the outfits, short and sweet, like short and sweet she is, and her album and everything else, the messaging, is reiterated in what she wears, which is also really powerful branding. So good for you, girl. That's a feather in your cap. Like a feather, like a feather, like a feather. Anyway, that song has been living in my mind, rent-free. And a part of me was like, let me talk about Sabrina Carpenter so I can actually talk about that song as well and incorporate it into my analysis of her outfit. So yeah, Sabrina Carpenter, you're on the hit list. I did like the color, the burgundy color, which you'll see as we proceed through this video is a general theme for a lot of the hits, all the fashion hits of the Met Gala. Another person I want to talk about actually is Kerry Washington, aka Olivia Pope, aka The Fixer. And her outfit was basically screaming Sunday best in the best possible way, because I do feel like dandyism is rooted in the culture of dressing up for an occasion and dressing to the nines, almost overdressing. You know, that's essentially the concept I want to drive in to this review of, you know, these looks. Dandyism is over the topness with a touch of personal style and something that makes you stand out, you know. And I think black people just know how to do it. And you'll also see that a lot of the people who were on the fashion hit list were black people, because I think they just understand the concept, you know, of dandyism. So I do think Kerry Washington definitely looked good. Nothing completely out of the ordinary, nothing, you know, like shocking or outside of what I would expect her to wear. But I think for the energy that she sort of gives off and the person that she is and what she wore, I think it's consistent. And I think that's what you need sometimes in fashion. You need to know who you are. You need to know what risks you want to take and how you can incorporate your identity into those risks and that particular theme. And when you do that, you often don't get it wrong, even if it doesn't look extraordinary or weird or unusual. You often won't get it wrong if you know who you are, because again, style and fashion are really all about knowing who you are. Good on you, Kerry. Good on you, Olivia. You did that, girl. Let's keep it moving, people. Let's keep it moving. And to the next fashion hit is Zendaya Coleman. I think she's been on the fashion hit list for many, 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 many years. And a large part in that obviously is to do with Law Roach, who is an incredible stylist and also part-time creative director / editor at Vogue for the Met. This particular theme, he was obviously heavily involved in all of this and the concept, and so he dressed Zendaya as per usual, or styled Zendaya as per usual, and it was a very simple outfit, but also still dandy. If you're able to take white, right, and make it dandy, even though white is so plain seemingly, then there's something quite special about you. And I think Zendaya also is one of those people who it's difficult for her to miss the mark per se, and I think maybe it's just because she just has the demeanor and the persona to carry an outfit no matter how it looks, because if you put that outfit on somebody else, it may not have landed. Well, I guess what goes up must come down, and if we're going to get into the shit list, unfortunately we're going to have to get into Miley Cyrus's outfit. I was very disappointed because Miley's my girl. Like, I love me some Miley Ray, honey. I love me some Hannah Montana. You know, I grew up on that. But let's be honest, the outfit was just not outfitting. It didn't feel dandy, one. And two, it felt unfinished. It really just felt unfinished. It felt like, girl, what are we doing here? Like, did you not want to come? Like, I'm not really sure what happened, you know? And sometimes it's not the actual artist's fault, like it's not the attendee's fault. Maybe the designer had a concept that they were like hell-bent on executing and the artist had to comply, or other way around, the artist attendee had a concept in mind, maybe the designer was not really feeling it, and so the designer gave them a flop effort of that particular idea. So I'm not sure what the concept she wanted it to be was, but I just know it flopped in every way. And yeah, I really just want better for her. I do want better for her, because I can't remember when she's ever been on a fashion hit list. Like, when has she ever been on a best dressed list? I can't really think or remember of that. I do like the grungy, Miley sort of pop rock aesthetic that she has, but I think she can really do well to dress for her personality, but also to dress for the type of vibe that she gives off. Because again, people, fashion and style is really to do with your personality. If you dress for the personality that you have and you carry that, you're not gonna miss. So Miley, let's do better, girl. Let's just do better, okay? And so continuing with the shit list, Jeremy, you gave us a moment last year with a beautiful over-the-top coat, and you took over the whole carpet, and it had, I think it was Karl Lagerfeld printed on that particular dramatic ensemble. I think it was last year or the year before, one of the two, but you gave us a moment, and you essentially introduced yourself into the best dressed list, and then now it's like, maybe you had imposter syndrome, so now you're back to the not so best dressed list. And, you know, as one of my girls, I really just expected you to do what needed to be done, but you didn't. And the thing is, the concept is there. I get it. Essentially, he was dressed as like a mannequin, like the mannequin fabric that you use for that, you know, that thing that you use when you're trying to design an outfit and all of that stuff and put an outfit together. Literally took that, wore that as like a vest and wore some pants with it. I just feel like the execution of it wasn't really brilliant. It was kind of amateur vibes, and I just needed better. It was too understated, you know. And I've seen, you know, Jeremy within a lot of the promo for the Met event, and they were looking like so good. So I was expecting that consistent, you know, look, but it just looked like last minute, I need something to wear, I'm just gonna put this thing on and call it a day, you know. So I really, really just wanted better for the girls, you know, to represent the girls. And you didn't do that this time, but I have high hopes for you that you will, you know, and that you'll continue to raise the flag high and get back onto that particular list. So yes, girl. And also, just while speaking about Jeremy, let's go into Coleman Domingo. Coleman's outfit wasn't really, so when Coleman took off like the cape, I could understand the dandy concept. When the cape was over and on, I didn't understand it. Maybe it has to do with the personality also, because I feel like, again, sometimes how good you look is really just how you carry that particular outfit. I don't think he was carrying the outfit. Yes, he was one of the co-chairs, but I also just wanted a little bit better from the aesthetic. And I also think he's not really known as a fashion person. He's known as an actor, and maybe people kind of don't really go into him like that because they're not expecting him to be on the best dressed list. But I think when you are a co-chair of the Met Gala, darling, then you need to put everything on the table and give the people what they want, you know? So, y'all, Coleman, girl, let's do better. I think Coleman's man, somebody was saying Coleman's wife, that was so problematic, Coleman's husband looked really well, like beautiful in the purple shimmer, you know? It looked very much like, hey, I'm here, I'm at the Met, and bitch, this is my time, this is my moment. So I do feel like maybe that was the plan, you know, for one to sort of outshine the other, and so that they, I don't know, balance each other out. But I would have expected Coleman to go balls to the wall and give us a Met moment. So I just feel like that didn't really come through, and I want to see him do better as well. I want to see all my girls do the most. And good for you, Coleman's husband, for coming to the party. You know, even though you were a guest, you really kind of showed main character energy. So you go, girl, you go. Of course, I have to talk about Tiana Taylor, honey, and she really gave us gangster dandy. Okay, gangster dandy queen of the world. And that was a moment, the do-rag with the cape, with the shoes and the dandy aesthetic. It was just a moment. Again, what was the operative color, people? Burgundy red, you know what I mean? Like, this is the theme, so I need you to keep up, because a lot of the people who are on the fashion hit list, were wearing some form of red for the most part. Not everyone, but Tiana Taylor proved that everything that was going on with her outfit was not too much. She carried it with confidence, really stood there and was a moment, and, you know, gave us what we needed to see. I saw this beautiful shot of her actually alone on the carpet, and it did that cape justice. So Tiana, girl, keep doing what you're doing. As we revisit the shit list, unfortunately, Tracee Ellis Ross landed there with flying colors, pun intended. There was just a lot going on with her outfit. I do feel like it was puffy in a way that was not very flattering to her beautiful figure. You know, she's a stunning, stunning person. And her mother, essentially, Ms. Diana Ross, gave us a moment. But Tracee went like on this different off-ramp, and the off-ramp was just the wrong turn. Wrong road, girl. Wrong road. And you know, it didn't land. I know, like, obviously, like, reading through the streets of the internet, there were certain people and some publications that were like, oh my gosh, this was like amazing, gorgeous, stunning. Didn't land. Was it dandy? Yes. Did it fit her persona, and did her personality carry that outfit? No. Were they tailoring issues? Maybe. Was it maybe made to look like it had tailoring issues, and so it didn't have tailoring issues? Maybe that was the idea. But then did that idea kind of flop? Yes, it did. I really didn't like the color combination, even though it was dandy, and I didn't like the fit of it. It felt very overwhelming. You could see with her after party look, and it's a very simple look. Yes, it's literally a t-shirt and, you know, some pants or a skirt, whatever, but it looked like she just wanted to take everything she was wearing off, you know, and just wear something light and casual, because that outfit was just not doing it. And maybe that was kind of a sign that she didn't like what she was wearing, and maybe she was just forced to wear it, you know. I don't know what the idea was. Maybe it was her idea, I really don't know, but they did her dirty. And Tracee, next time, girl, next time. Okay, and now back to the fashion hit list. Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats did exactly what we needed them to do. It was absolutely breathtakingly beautiful, and in a way that was kind of unexpected, because to be honest, when last have we seen Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats on the top of any fashion list? Like never. I've never, like, the girl has just been known for her music, and the husband similarly for his music or producing music, you know, and his Harvard degree child. But I think it's his Harvard degree. I think he went to Harvard. I'm trying to remember. Or that was somebody else. Maybe I'm just likening him to somebody else. But anyway, like, Alicia Keys, Swiss Beats never really are fixtures on, you know, top fashion contenders list. But this time, they really understood the assignment and dandyism and just that over-the-top gangster-licious energy, you know? And it really just landed. Again, they were wearing burgundy red, maroon vibe, and the striping on their outfits was not too overwhelming, because I think sometimes that's where a lot of people got it wrong, when the outfit looked like they're going to a meeting or an office function or some type of thing that's just not fun and it's just boring, you know. But what they were wearing was very much artistic, and the cape or the coat that Alicia Keys was wearing was also kind of decked out and draping on the floor. You know, we love to see a good moment of draping as long as you can carry it. So Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats, you gave us a moment, people. You gave us a moment, and let's continue. Let's go on to this upward trajectory, and let's see you on more fashion hit lists. Continuing with a good momentum, Shabuzi Honey was not dressed like he's going to a bar. He literally was dressed for the Met. Absolutely a very androgynous look, if I actually had to say. Very, very androgynous. Completely uncharacteristic, you know, and you can see because the after party outfit that he wore was kind of the whole sort of country, you know, cowboyish outfit that essentially is kind of his theme that he sort of carries consistently, you know. But the Met outfit was very much avant-garde for him, you know. It was very like that fascinator hat he was wearing, black with the turquoise beading on the top, you know, and the contrast of that sort of seemingly more effeminate outfit with this really masculine dude was just, there was some high vibration, you know, energy to that, and I absolutely ate it all up and loved it. So Shabuzi definitely on the fashion hit list, and yeah, I did actually like the diverting from the norm, you know. If he came in a sort of cowboy aesthetic to a dandy event, it was just really not going to land. It would have been expected, but I think he gave us a moment because he stepped out of the box, you know, but carried it. So absolutely loved it. And there's just something about a really masculine guy looking androgynous and still being so masculine that is so attractive, but also a moment, you know. Give us androgyny and sell it to us and let us just eat it up, but still remain true to who you are. So loved it, beautiful. See you next time. And on to the next look. Doja Cat, you know, was basically rocking an 80s outfit. Was a dandy. For me, it gave Tina Turner energy, if I'm being very honest. It gave 80s, you know, 80s over the topness. And I'm trying to think of if it was dandy or not, because I just had mixed feelings about the outfit. True to who Doja is, right? It had kind of a feline element to it with, I think it was the tiger print or whatever print. It was a feline print right there, you know, to emphasize the cat in the Doja. The hair gave Tina Turner, and the exaggerated shoulders, which were also kind of a theme in the whole Met event of this year. Exaggerated shoulders, on brand, but I don't know if all of those ideas together sold her in the best possible way for the theme. Did she look good? Yes, for Doja Cat, because I feel like Doja Cat intentionally departs from whatever the status quo is in order to stand out. She's just a really weird girl, and that's been a standing point, and there's something to love about that. But was it a hit? I'm almost in between, like, with whether this is a fashion hit or a fashion miss. She carried the outfit. I just don't think the outfit overall was on theme. But because I fuck with Doja, she was a hit. I'm kidding. No. I would definitely say almost a hit. Let's give Doja almost a hit, you know, and maybe almost a miss. So I guess that's in between, because it's like, it wasn't so great that it was like a hit, but it was not like so bad that she just needed to go home. It was just kind of like, meh. It was like there in between, and yeah, girl, Doja. Let's move on. Sierra was dressed, I think, in Laquan Smith. Whoever she was dressed by, I think Sierra looked good. Was great. Was it dandy? Not conventionally dandy. Did she look good? Yes. And for that reason, do I appreciate her outfit, and was it a fashion hit? We can say that. We can definitely say that. I think the husband complemented her look really well because I think the husband was definitely more on the theme. Future, on the other hand, I don't know what bad dye job that he got or who convinced him to cut his dreads, but Future looked rough. Like, Future looked so rough. It actually was just not even sad to see because I'm just thinking, well, you did all that stuff to CC, so maybe the karma is not looking good at the event that your ex is at and happily at with her current man, you know. So I do feel like in some ways maybe that was just some really bad karma because he just looked so rough. Like, so rough. Like, it wasn't even dandyism. It just was like, why are you there? Like, who invited you? What do you have going on? Because sometimes I'm just like, well, if the Met is really a highlight of who is in the zeitgeist and who is relevant, when was the last time Future relevant? Is trap music still relevant? Is he collaborating with anyone relevant? What is he actually doing other than people really kind of just talking about him in reference to how he did Sierra dirty and how he just basically is in a flop era because he fumbled a person who he should never have fumbled at all. So yeah, I don't know about you, Future, but I just feel like you were misplaced completely at this event, and good for Sierra. Good for you, girl, because at the end of the day, you won, and that's all that matters. So, next look. Nicole Kidman, beautiful dress, not very dandy, like it was very classic, like it was a beautiful black dress, but nothing earth-shattering. And when she had that interview with Lala and was talking about the theme, I was just like, yo, girl, like, this is not your theme. Like, you were never going to understand it, and it's okay because you didn't look earth-shatteringly beautiful and dandy in that theme. She's naturally beautiful, right? That carries her, but it really was just another dress. It was not part of the theme. So, Nicole Kidman, stop joking with us and take the theme seriously, girl. Take it seriously. Next look, I want to talk about Lizzo. I do really actually like Lizzo in the sense that, one, I actually think she's the only black pop star. Well, she's an actual definition of a black pop star, but people I think just do not like to give Lizzo her flowers because, I don't know, maybe she's a big girl and people just want to, I guess, kick her because of that. But I think she's very talented, right? And she looked amazing at the Met and is really making her transformation work for her. She's working on herself and transforming her body. I liked her before and after. Girl, you're doing that. You're still doing that. You did that. The look was so beautiful. It almost gave, you know, Cruella de Vil, but in a very like beautiful, indirect way. So you wouldn't think that she's trying to do that. She just looked like a sophisticated, beautiful black girl and very dandy. And loved it for you, girl. Lizzo, you ate that carpet, and happy belated birthday. Andre 3000 Andre 3000 was incredible. I loved him. The Piano Man was essentially his signature at the Met Gala, and I absolutely adored it. I think he's such a conceptually brilliant person, understands the assignment, is essentially dandy to the core, you know, and in some ways has that sort of Rihanna energy for the guys, because who comes with a trash bag to the Met and with a piano on their back and still stands out as one of the best dressed? Because I think sometimes when you stunt, people are like, oh, well, that was too much, and so they may put you on a shit list. But I think you're in my hit list because you absolutely went there. You know, you were dandy and you were promoting the EP that you've put out or you're about to put out, whatever the case may be. But the aesthetic of what he presented on that carpet couldn't be more true to who he is than anything else. And that's what we love. That's what we want to see at the Met. We want to see your personality integrated into what you're wearing. As huge as that piano was for the small frame that he has, it didn't wear him. He wore and he carried that thing, and it made it look like it's not even heavy. So Andre 3000, 10s, darling. 10s across the board. Janelle Monáe, breathtaking. You know, that was a moment. Absolutely a moment. And there's so many similarities between Andre 3000 and Janelle Monáe, because I think their aesthetic is very dandy just in general. Janelle Monáe has this way of just executing a look and making it look effortlessly her, you know. And that look, that Tom Brown look that Janelle Monáe rocked, and that reveal of, you know, basically being unzipped from the suit bag, that was the initial look. Priceless, gorgeous, stunning, all the good words in the world for that outfit, for that moment. And you clocked it, quite literally. You clocked it. And the consistency of that outfit, the reveal, right? Revealing from the suit bag. You're literally wearing a suit bag. You are now revealing the outfit to the after party where you kind of wear a shorter version of that same outfit. Just the consistency and the commitment to that look, to that aesthetic. You did that. You did that, Janelle. You did that. And for the most part, Janelle Monáe never really disappoints at the Met. Like, Janelle's one of those people who you always put on the hit list for some reason. Like, they're always just there they looked great. They may not be the best dressed essentially, but they looked great time after time after time. And I think that's also just a personal thing. I think Janelle Monáe values personal style and fashion, and that aesthetic, that personality comes through each and every time. And in some ways, I kind of see Baduism in Janelle Monáe, although it's completely very different. Janelle Monáe and Erykah Badu are very different. But in some ways, I see Baduism in Janelle Monáe, and even Lauryn Hill in some ways. Just in a very, it's and what I mean by that is, they may not necessarily have been influenced or inspired by Erykah Badu, but there's a pattern of dandyism and over-the-topness that's there, or that's very consistent in these three people: Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, Janelle Monáe. And it just works. So Janelle, you really did what needed to be done, and I'm so proud of you. But again, I feel like you always give us great content at the Met. This is kind of your... I've always felt like Janelle Monáe, I've always felt like Janelle Monáe and Andre 3000 are one of those people who probably get so excited about the Met, particularly Janelle Monáe because she always shows up, but like, I feel like she's one of those people who, or they're one of those people who, like, the Met before, like a year into the Met happening, they start to decide what they're going to wear and how they're going to execute their vision, and they're going to plan everything to the T, you know, and what their mood board is. They just look like they're very conceptually involved in what they wear. And because of that, they understand what they wear, and it translates to the audience. Whatever they're wearing works for them. And Janelle, what you're wearing worked for you. And yeah, fly higher, girl. Like, continue to fly. Fly on that Met carpet. Just getting into actually Lauryn Hill, because I was just talking about the Baduism, I also really liked how dandy and yellow that suit was. You know, over the top, very on brand for Lauryn Hill. And it did not feel divorced from her personality. It felt very much in tune with what we wanted to see from Lauryn Hill. In some ways, I kind of feel like this theme is also in some ways a love letter to 1990s Detroit, New York, Philly, and all these maybe northeastern / midwestern black meccas, which were so impactful in the dandy culture, but also kind of with a gangster element to it. When they wore those, like when they wear those winter frocks with the coats, because there was emphasis on coating, like lots and lots of people wore coats because that finishes a look, but it's a very wintry aesthetic, right? And because you layer and you pile a lot of clothes on. But in some ways, I feel like the theme of the Met was very much a love letter to that era. And in reference to Lauryn Hill was big in the 90s, the late 90s. So her coming into this event with this theme, I think, was just a love letter to her in many ways, and that's why she executed the look so beautifully and so perfectly. So Lauryn Hill, hit list for sure, doll, for sure. And then I also saw this beautiful look from Jodie Turner, and look, for the life of me, I don't know who Jodie Turner is. Please do not come for me for that. I don't know if I am supposed to know her, but I just had to research Jodie Turner because I saw the look, the burgundy sort of leather head to toe look with the top hat that she had going on, and I was eating all of it up. The outfit did not wear. Jodie wore that particular outfit, did it justice, gave it everything it needed to be given to give life to everybody else. And it was a moment. It was beautiful to see. It was definitely a sight for sore eyes. And also it felt like not doing too much, but doing a lot at the same time. That's a very difficult balance to maintain. Do you get what I mean? It's like when you're trying too hard, but you're not trying too hard because hey, I'm going to the Met, I need to put an effort. But you're not trying too hard because it just also looks like, well, I could probably also wear this on a daily basis, but I'm wearing it to the Met. I feel like Jodie Turner gave us a delicate balance of that, and I was pleasantly surprised by how the execution landed. And I've never really seen them on like a fashion hit list, or let alone know what they do, but I just obviously know that they're obviously relevant enough to go to the Met or to be invited to the Met. But girl, you did it. Unfortunately, going into another shit list, Tyla was not the best looking attendee this year, unfortunately. And I say that because maybe I'm comparing her too much to what she wore last year, so I was expecting a really strong follow-up this year. But it was kind of a letdown, and I wasn't really like into the outfit. Was it dandy? I don't think it was. I don't think it was dandy. And Yeah, Tyler, I expected more. I really wanted her to really like give us another moment, because when she was at that Met Gala for the first time last year, in that earth dress basically, that they had to cut from her so that she could move after she made it through the stairs. That was a moment. There was drama. There was, shablam. It was everything. Everything. This just dress, not really on the theme, not on the nose for the theme. And not the worst dressed, right? But also not the best dressed. And also not the best dressed because if you want to give us a moment like you did last year, you need to just continue to follow up. So Tyler, I need you to do better. And I need you to stick to what you know also. Like, have an identity and stick to what you know. Because I think sometimes when we try to experiment outside of the identity or the concept that we are selling to the world, that's when certain things go wrong. And I'm not sure if that was the first time she was working with this particular style, because apparently she was working with Law Roach. And Law Roach normally does a solid, but maybe that's just because it works with Zendaya. Maybe it doesn't work with other people. I don't really know. It did work for the Vogue issue, or like the Met edition of the Vogue that she creatively put together. Worked for that, but it just didn't work for Tyler. In some ways, I feel like they were maybe she kind of dressed her in a way that mimics what he was wearing or flatters what Law Roach was wearing, because even the blonde wigs were consistent between the two of them, but not in a good way. No, Tyler, no, my baby. Let's do better next year. Okay. Cabby Lame really gave us a moment at the Met this year. The look was impeccable, on brand, dandy as hell, There were all these clocks that were working on the outfit, they were like, I guess, pocket watches or whatever. It just looked perfection, and in a way that was kind of understated, but also dramatic enough to be at the Met, Absolutely amazing, adorable. And I want to see you more at more Met Galas if you're going to give us that type of content. So, Cabby, you did that, and I'm very excited to see what you're going to give us next year. And on to the drama, y'all. So Nicki versus Cardi versus Megan. Actually, let's just do Nicki versus Cardi. So Megan Thee Stallion was obviously at the Met. Looked good. Nothing over the top or earth-shattering. She was just decent. But not in a way that was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? Wouldn't say her look was the most memorable either. But I think she's also not really known as a fashion girl, so we can't really expect too much from her. But I think for the purposes of going to the Met, she looked good, she looked decent. And Nicki Minaj, I actually wanted her to look good because I'm definitely a Bob. I do love Nicki Minaj. I do absolutely love Nicki Minaj and endorse her in every single way. But I do feel like this one time, and this is the only time, so please don't get used to it. Please don't get used to it, people. But this one time, Cardi won over Nicki. And the reason was because what Cardi was wearing felt more comfortable to what Nicki was wearing. It just looked like Cardi sold what she was wearing more. The green was very dandy, it was in your face, but it was just a look that you've definitely seen it before, and you can see the reference and you can see why it's dandy. It also gave a Foxy Brown, Austin Powers type of, look, which really landed. It really landed. And it was very much, it was giving R&B dandy diva in some ways, but from back then. Or hip-hop dandy diva from back then. So I think it worked. I really think it worked. Nicki, the shoes, I guess, were all the way up, and I guess it was difficult to maneuver the dress, but the dress also looked quite heavy. I wanted her to look absolutely good, but it kind of looked heavy. It kind of aged her a bit as well, and I wanted her to look quite youthful. I think the last outfit she wore was very much like butterflies and all of that, so she looked so cute and youthful, and the dress looked so light. It looked like she could move in it and was so comfortable in it. But I think she was wearing Tom Brown as well, but it just didn't land. It looked heavy. It just looked like you couldn't wait to get out of it, and it was difficult for you to move around in it. And I know you're very opinionated, so I hope that if you didn't want to wear it, then you should have just been like, I'll take the other option, or I'll just scratch this, whatever the case may be. So yeah, and in this instance, Cardi B had the better look, but people don't get used to it because maybe this is the only, this was the only fight that Cardi B will ever win against Nicki, because let's be honest, honey, I am the queen. And of course, going into Kimberly Kardashian. I think Kimberly Kardashian, or Kimmy Cakes, whatever you want to call her, looked really good. I think the outfit, despite what people think, was dandy. It was dandy. She literally looked like a pimp, Pun intended also, because I think we all know. Pun intended, because I think we all know people's association with Kimmy Cakes and her family and how she got famous, all of that stuff. But she really genuinely looked like a female thug, gangster, woman, person, and the look was, it was definitely giving hood rich, actually. It was giving hood rich diva, and it worked, and I really liked the look. Like, I really have nothing bad to say about Kim's look. I think she dressed for the body that she has. She wanted to just accentuate what she wanted to accentuate, which is her behind, and she looked good doing so. And I really can't fault the look. I really can't fault the look at all. I also think she understood the fact that, because I think sometimes people with big behinds, girl or guy, don't necessarily look the best in suits. It always just looks a bit much in a suit, because I think a suit is almost designed to cover your behind. So when you're wearing maybe a suit and the suit jacket almost flares up to the side because the behind is too big, then it looks weird in some ways for, like, when I see a person wearing that. So I think maybe in some ways she decided not to wear suit material and a suit jacket or pants or the conventional dandy look, because it was probably not going to be flattering. So the decision that she decided to go with, and the aesthetic she decided to go with I think it's chrome hearts or whoever she was wearing, girl, you sold it to us. You sold it to us. But also I do expect that from Kim, because I do feel like she's a regular on, you know, she's a regular at the Met, but she's often a regular on the best dress list. I know you guys all love to hate her, but she's definitely a regular on the best dress list. She's given us a couple of good moments. Not always. I think the couch dress stands out as a really low moment, but that was back then. But the water dress, the one with the drops, the dress this year, and the Manu X machine, whatever, that theme, which was with Kanye, she looked good. You know, she's had quite a lot of moments that were like, you did that, girl, you did that. So this look was consistent, and we expected, you know, her to look good. And y'all, Kim, up and up, girl, up and up. An honorary mention to Halle Berry. I think Halle Berry actually looked really good, you know. Still has the body after all these years, people. After all these years, she really looked good. And the dress, I think the dress was by Laquan Smith. Absolutely beautiful. It's, when you wear striped outfits, or like outfits which sort of have like stripes going up and down, you really have to have the body for it. And she sold it. She really looked good. It looked dandy, but in a way that was like, the over the top part, I think, was the fact that the striped, you know, dress was kind of see-through in certain parts of it. So it really accentuated her body, and she sold it in that regard. And yeah, it was dandy, but not in a very conventional way. It was kind of like indirectly dandy, but sophisticated, but conservative, but over the top at the same time. And all of those words are contradictory, but they somehow make sense for the outfit that she gave us, you know, and maybe speaks to a lot about what's going on in Laquan Smith's mind. Clearly a really great designer. I actually like Laquan Smith's look more because I love a puffy jacket feather moment, you know. That is literally me all day, every day. So I really loved that look by Laquan Smith. But also it's a faux pas, because I feel like you can't outshine the person you dressed. And maybe Laquan didn't outshine Halle Berry, but I also do feel like looked really good beside her. So I really do, that was just definitely an honorary mention, that girl, you're still alive, you're still doing it, and you brought that at the Met, girl. You brought that at the Met. Gayle King, y'all. Gayle King. Yane. Gayle King is unfortunately on the shit list because the outfit was ill-fitting and it looked too costumey. It didn't look like something that she would wear. She looked uncomfortable wearing it. Just the whole look did not work. It really didn't work, you know. And off the back of the fact that she just came out so casually, so I'm like, I need to support my people. My people, you know, I need to endorse my people. But when my people are like not necessarily doing the most and kind of letting me down in this moment, then I'm gonna have to call it the way it is. And the way it is, Miss Gayle, is it was a flop. It was like not the best looking outfit, and I wanted it to be a moment because you've had sort of press around you about different things, so I wanted you to have a moment, but it was just not the right moment. Well, not in the right way, because I think everyone was laughing with Gayle in that meme of when she was going to space and the expression she was making. There was literally a billion different things you could have said, but there was literally a billion different things that you could have memed that picture about. But now it kind of looked like, instead of laughing with her about the whole space thing, now people are kind of mocking her about the outfit at the Met, and I don't want that to be the case. But girl, whoever put it together really just is not a fan of yours, does not want to see you win and do great things in life, because I think if you took one look at the mirror, you would have realized, you would have realized that this is not the moment and I need to wear another outfit. But kudos for you for taking the risk and attempting the theme. obviously Gayle King is not really like a best dressed feature on any list in general because she's the news person, or she takes her job seriously in that regard, so she's not really trying to be having a fashion moment. But with the access that you have, I need you to do better next time. Okay. Joey King looked amazing. Amazing. That look with the green suit with the little mirrors dangling all over and the little frilly chiffon in the front, everything. It was so dandy, but also over the top, but not doing too much, but doing a lot, and we lived for that moment. Joey King, you did that. Loved it. Again, this is one of those people who I don't know what they do, but they clearly got some attention because they were trying to market themselves, and whatever they do is going to start to be known because they gave us a moment at the Met, and it was beautiful. It was a really beautiful look. Loved it, and I want to see more from you, Joey. I want to actually start to know what you do, and when I talk about you on the fashion hit list, I put context into who you are as a person so that people can actually, buy into your content or whatever you do. So good moment. Definitely want to see more. And one of the few white people who actually were dandy in the right way, like who kind of got the theme right, but not in a way that was like too literal, So you did that. Doechii was definitely on the shit list because the outfit was too branded. Like, love me some Pharrell, love me some LV, But I do feel like she looked like luggage in some ways. Like, there was just too much branding in the outfit. I could somewhat understand the reference, but it just didn't land for me. It looked too walking billboard, but not theme. Let's understand the assignment. Let's give us a moment. So, Doechii, I don't know if it was the anxiety, girl, but we definitely need to see more from you, okay? More from you, baby, more from you. The next person I want to get into is Tessa Thompson, who, to be honest, Tessa Thompson was my best dressed. Tessa Thompson looked like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory met Black Mafia Family met, beautiful church lady Sunday, best dressed to the nines, outfit of the year vibes. And Tessa Thompson, you stole the show. You did everything that needed to be done, but you did everything and then some, and you sold that outfit. It was so understatedly elegant, but over the top, so well fitting. The hat, the tilted hat, just the sort of shape of the outfit, the color, the tailoring, it really fit the theme, and I think you really were this year's best dressed, and you gave us everything we wanted to see. So I'm so excited to see what you're going to do next year, because I know that you can definitely bring it even more and be a consistent feature on the best dressed list. So Tessa Thompson, Best Dressed 2025 Met Gala. You ate that up and left no crumbs, but only jaws on the floor. Anyway, babies, I hope you enjoyed this beautiful and very special episode of The Messiest Bitch on the Internet. We really went upwards, sideways, backwards, and forwards with the Met Gala and all of the beautiful looks and the questionable ones. But yes, here's to hoping that Black fashion and culture is, a staple within the cultural and mainstream zeitgeist within the entertainment industry. So definitely a big win for all of us. And yeah, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram at BigMoneyEntertainment_, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye. Also, don't get used to this shirt. This was literally just for the special occasion, so I know how to come to the party. Oh, grrr.